Welcome everyone to another edition of The Score. Wiley Baker with you here. As a reminder, The Score is a sports show here on AACPS TV and the Anne Arundel County YouTube channel, where our Athletes in Action show focuses on a specific team at an Anne Arundel County public school. The Score zeroes in on an essential individual in the life of Anne Arundel County Public Schools athletics. And today, we have one such individual for sure. I'd like to introduce you to a gentleman known throughout Anne Arundel County for his personality and his voice. Welcome to my friend, the voice of the Falcons of Severna Park High School, good friend Larry Sells. Larry, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you for having me. A lot of pleasure to be here.
Well, we have talked on and off the air, but you've told me some information that's interesting about Larry Sells. Let's start and talk a little bit about you, Larry Sells, where you're from, and talk to us a little bit about your sports history.
Sure. Well, I grew up in Indiana and attended Ball State University and, you know, had jobs and moved around the country and ended up settling here 33 years ago in Anne Arundel County, and just really got involved with a lot of youth sports then. Played basketball with a bunch of neighborhood buddies at Severna Park High School and bang around and do that. Had a lot of fun, but coached a lot of Green Hornet sports and got involved in a lot of organizations. And you know, all this stuff started really from Dave Ferris that had me through a bullhorn announce baseball games when I think they were 8 years old. So that's how it all started.
Wow. So the announcing even started in the Little Leagues.
Oh, yeah. Way back in Green Hornet days, without a doubt.
Oh, That's awesome. Now, have you ever taught or coached sports before you really got deep into sports announcing?
Yeah, you know, I was a coach for just when I kids, like any other parent, in a youth organization. I coached my kids through the organizations, all the sports, soccer, baseball, basketball. I mean, it happened. And, you know, as our son David was approaching Severna Park High School, they needed an announcer. And I said, well, you know, I was radio, TV, communications, and public relations and business in college. And I thought, well, heck, I can do that. I mean, you read numbers, and who can't do that? So I gave it a shot, and that was like 19 years ago.
Wow. Larry, when did you say to yourself, this is me, I want to be a sports announcer?
Well, when I went to college at Ball State, I was in that discipline and communications and broadcasts and TV and stuff. And a lot of the concentration there was behind the scenes. So it's making the commercials and doing the production work and all that. And I decided that, you know, why wouldn't I want to kind of get more involved in other aspects of that? So I did color for our local radio station in Indiana, where I grew up in Newcastle, did some color for baseball. So that's kind of how it started. And then a large chunk of time went and where nothing really happened there. And I decided the business career seemed to pay a little bit more money than teaching and, you know, some of the other jobs I was offered. So my business career began, and so that's kind of how it all started. But yeah, the announcing thing and just being involved and stuff, you know, it's just deciding to move forward. But my history began back in my early days in Newcastle, Indiana.
Wow. And I'm here with Larry Sells, voice of the Falcons of Severna Park High School. And Larry, how long have you been a sports announcer from when you did start a long time ago?
Well, you know, we did some things, and it's really kind of started here locally when Severna Park, when I was the booster president at Severna Park High School, I decided when I grew up in Indiana, our local radio station broadcast the football games on Friday night. And so I reached out to Steve Hopp at the time at WNAV, and I said, hey, what do we need to do to get you guys to do this? And I kind of liked it because they said, well, you got to sell some ads. And so we sold all the ads out, and we had them there every Friday night. And I claimed it as the WNAV as the local voice of Severna Park football. And full well knowing that Broadneck is at Arnold, a little bit closer, but we anyway had some fun with that, and it kind of started from there, and then it carried over from football, and then I did baseball also, and you know, done some basketball, and have also done some field hockey when it came to the time to introduce the teams on senior night. One of the parents that was the announcer couldn't do it that day, so I filled in.
Oh, that's great. Larry, you do a great job of not only being informative at Falcon sporting events, but you make a point of juicing up the crowd at events, making them feel like they're involved in the game.
Right. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what your philosophy is as the Falcon public address announcer.
Well, I think you're right. I want to be informative. I want fans that are in there to experience where they know, just like a professional game, where the ball is, how much time's left, what the down and yardage is, just so they kind of know what's going on. But I also know that it's a home game. And, so I think it's very, very important. And I thought long and hard about it, about what do I need to do to kind of put a little energy into this other than just, 3rd down and 4. I mean, how boring is that?
That Indiana spunk.
The Indiana spunk. So what I did was I came up with a cadence, and it's really stuck over time, and it's where I just, enunciate on every first down. I put a lot of momentum behind it, and it always goes something like this, and that's another Falcon. First down. And it's something that I play with. I pause on occasion and let the crowd kind of mess around with them a little bit, but we have a lot of fun with it. And I try to be fair. I'm good to the visitors. We're just glad it's there. It's always sportsmanship, but if you can have a little more enthusiasm for the home team, people know around the county. I've done it for, I think I'm moving into my 19th year.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the right way to do. Obviously, everybody knows that you're in it for Anne Arundel County Public Schools and the sports in general, but you do wear and bleed gold and blue for sure.
I do. I do. I think, all of our kids went there with the exception of my daughter, Katie, who went to St. Mary's, but Robin and I have 5 children between us, and they all played sports or the infamous scrub basketball at Severna Park High School. And, my son David and Tommy were very, very prominent in their sports, both captains of teams. And my son David was the Robinson Scholar Athlete of the Year.
Yes.
And we're very proud of that. And all their accomplishments. All of our kids were captains. All of them, Catherine and Brian and Tommy and Katie and David, were just great kids, and just really enjoyed the school and made it fun to be part of it.
I was going to say, talk a little bit. I mean, you kind of took my question away, and that's okay for sure. I mean, I know that's a big deal to you because not every day does a public address announcer or any announcer get a chance to announce their own children or family members in general. That had to be so special.
I liked it and I didn't like it because, it was one of those things where you're getting caught up in a game, and if your son's like a defensive linebacker like David was, or Tom was an offensive and defensive lineman, it was like, okay, I'm watching the ball. I'm missing the play or the tackle or whatever. So, and so it was good to see them. It was good to always feel like we were part of it. It was interesting after they all departed. I can remember in baseball in particular, David, my son, was number 11, and when the next year came, number 11 came to bat, I introduced it as David Sells, and not the other kid that was wearing a number 11. So there's some fun things there, but yeah, we've had a lot of fun with it.
With Larry Sells, he is the voice of the Falcons at Severna Park High School, does great public address announcing, and he is a Hall of Famer at Severna Park High School. Congratulations, not to mention other awards as well. I know Gala Awards as well. Elaborate on how special those awards are to you, especially the one about being named into the Severna Park High School Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was special. That was unexpected. And, it was for community work that I did, and, we built the Andy Borland field house on my watch. A lot of people, it wasn't just me, it was a lot of people behind the scenes that worked that. But there was the baseball building we built. So we did a lot of building projects and a lot of work like that. It was special to be a part of it. The special part of that to me was that night. I remember my parents were there that have since passed on. My whole family was there, and we got to really talk about it. And my presenter that day was Jim Pitt. I was Jim's presenter when Jim was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And the Pitt family and the Sells family have a bond because when Jim Pitt's son, Jimmy, was injured and a paraplegic, we ran a fundraiser for him at Severna Park High School and raised $60,000 for him and that family. So special place in my heart. All the family, something I didn't expect. Probably more deserving people than me, but nonetheless, I'm appreciative.
Oh, very good. Well, amongst your announcing, a lot of people don't know, many people do though, that you work for a local publication in the area.
I do, yes. It's called The Voice Media, Inc. It owns 2 publications, the Severna Park Voice and the Pasadena Voice, which are published throughout Severna Park Millersville, and Arnold for the Severna Park Voice. And for Pasadena, it's all of Gibson Island, Pasadena, and Curtis Bay. About over 50,000 homes and businesses were monthly. We focus on something I really, really like. It is not, we used to say hyper-local, but it's micro-local community good news about people and businesses and nonprofits and organizations and just neighborhoods and just finding people doing something great. That's what goes in our papers. All the rest of it, we'll let the other guys have it.
Larry, are there any special sports moments that you remember, whether it's public address announcing, through the Severna Park or the Pasadena Voice? I know there are probably many. Could you put your finger on one or two?
When I think about my son David was on the first Severna Park baseball championship team in 2003. I announced the games. That was kind of interesting. And then they back-to-back won in 2005. And then I think about Tom beating Old Mill at Old Mill in a playoff game his senior year.
Big win.
Yeah, it was a playoff win and not unexpected. But again, I've seen great games and enjoyed great moments of watching all of our kids in scrub basketball, and Brian and Tommy, and just all of them having fun, and Catherine in the powder puff football. So we have a lot of fun with the sports. It's the family's all engaged, and it's just a lot of moments. A lot of moments.
And the new facilities, you have to love them at Severna Park. I know they're really tremendous.
Yeah, well, I call it Severna Park University. The press box is collegigiate. I mean,
Yes.
it's you could go to
Beautiful.
a junior college or some college, and you're going to find the facilities there. It's well taken care of, and a lot of heart and soul and effort and money went into making that happen. And I think it's just class facilities across. I don't know any better.
It really is special there at Severna Park. And as we wrap things up, Larry, reflecting back through all of your years of public address announcing here in Anne Arundel County and being the voice of the Falcons, what would you say has made you the proudest with the student athletes, whether they be throughout Anne Arundel County Public Schools or at Severna Park High School?
Wow. I think it's a lot of memories that I think are what makes me proudest. I can set up in a non-biased way and watch teams, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, all get better and all come together as a team. And I see that every year. And I think a little bit about Friday Night Lights. It's a little sad on occasion, too, when the seniors go away and you're pulling the magnets down from the board like in the movie. But I would say I love watching all the teams start a little rough and get a little bit better and then go win state championship. It's just really awesome.
And you've seen many of them at Severna Park High School. You've announced many of them at
yes.
Severna Park High School.
Indeed.
And not to mention, you are a champion, and all of the awards that you have earned are well earned by every measure. And I want to say thank you for being here today. Thank you for your friendship, not only as an announcer, but beyond that. I know we've had some great conversations in the past.
On your radio show.
On a radio show. There, as you mentioned,
Indeed.
WNAV, and we thank you so much. Larry, keep doing great work as the voice of the Falcons.
Well, and if I could say, I forgot one thing. Doing color for you on the road was also fun on football games, too.
It really was. Larry Sells, we'll have to do it again.
We will.
Thank you
Indeed.
so much.
My pleasure.
A gracious thanks to the voice of the Falcons, Larry Sells from Severna Park High School, for joining us today on The Score. As always, in honor and memory of my mom, Dee Baker, I'm Wiley Baker. I'll talk to you on the court, on the field, or on the air, and with another edition of The Score right here on the Anne Arundel County Public Schools television network and YouTube channel.